guys, it's Taylor again with Red Moon Royals. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Hopefully you've enjoyed part 1 of our Genetics 101. So today we're going to pick up kind of where we left off. I think I did 6 different genes in the first video, so this one I'm going to finish out the 11 that I had prepped, so I think I've got 5. So we'll head back over to Morph Market again and keep taking a peek at some of those. Again, just in case you didn't watch the first one, just as a disclaimer, any of these ads that I'm showing, they're just random based off the photos that the breeders or sellers took. I'm not necessarily saying do or don't purchase anything from them. If I have purchased from them and it was great, I will let you know, because definitely I want to support my friends where I can. And then the other disclaimer I have is just that I'm not a professional. So this is all based on what I've taught myself, and I just have my own weird ways of remembering things. So hopefully what I have to say makes sense, and if it doesn't, feel free to reach out and ask, and maybe I can explain it different. But yeah, so let's head over to Morph Market and we'll look at some more morphs. Alright, so we're going to start off today, this time part 2, looking at just an albino. So there are different kind of branches of albino. You've got the lavender albinos, candy, like there's a bunch of them, but we're just going with the basic albino this time around. And as you can see here, the albinos, it basically takes away all of the dark pigmentation. So you get the pink or reddish eyes and mostly just a yellow and white snake. Albinos on their own look very nice. I prefer them having more to them myself. But this is your basic albino. We can see here from Wilbanks. So when we add a little bit into it, things can get pretty cool pretty quick. So this animal here, it's a leopard albino clown. So I loved the contrast on it, and bringing in the clown so that it gets that nice dorsal that contrasts against the yellow. Thought that was very sharp looking, and then having the leopard in there to reduce the pattern as well. I feel like you couldn't go wrong with this animal. Absolutely beautiful. Royal Constrictor Designs explains a lot. So then the last example I have for albino is just a personal favorite of mine. It is my all-time favorite combo when it comes to albinos, and it's basic. Weirdly, I was in the game for almost 4 years and never got just a albino black pastel. But good friends of ours from California, out at M&K Exotics, helped hook me up so that I finally have one. And he's a pistol, but I absolutely love him. And he's just as beautiful in person as I ever had hoped. So this is a black pastel albino. I just think the contrast on this combination is just stellar. Like, I love it. So of the albinos, this is my favorite in terms of combinations. Alright, the next one we're going to do, I mentioned it in part 1, but now we have the calico. So this is a normal calico. You can see down towards the belly and crawling kind of up the sides is the white scalations. And then usually they're covered in darker alien heads with a lot more of the gold colors and yellow colors. You can also sort of see where the pixelation, the white scales, usually only happen within alien heads. It can happen outside of them, but usually it's just within these. And another thing to note is that calico and sugar, they kind of do the same things. They're similar to banana and coral glow, so they're similar but slightly different depending on who you talk to. So this next example that I have is a VPI Axanthic Calico Spot Nose. So I just think this is a beautiful combo in terms of basically being a grayscale photo. It's just black, white, and gray. Very eye-catching, to say the least. But you can just see the white still is in the alien heads only. Comes under them in some spots where the alien head, I guess it's not really the alien head, but where the black doesn't come all the way down. So you can see that it goes under. And then the last example that I have for this is a butter sugar clown. So you have a little bit of the reduced pattern because of it being a clown, but you see the nice golden dorsal stripe, but then you get past that and you can see the white here on the sides, and you can see even on this snake that it only really comes up inside what's left of those alien heads. There's not a lot calico and sugar don't look good on. There are definitely higher expressions of it. I don't think that there's a science to it. I think it's similar to pieds, where just because you breed high white to high white doesn't mean you're going to get high white. So I think calico and sugar are the same way in terms of if you have a good example of calico that you're breeding, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get good examples out of her or him. But yeah, that's calico. All right, and next up, just because we talked about it there on that last one, we're going to go ahead and do blackhead. So blackhead is a personal favorite, probably in my top 5. It makes everything better. I know we don't like them on our face, but when it comes to the snakes, I will always be happy to take a blackhead. So, this is a normal blackhead from Will Banks, and you can just see how overall it really darkens up the animal. It's really just dominated by extremely dark colors all the way through. There's really not much for a head stamp. The head's just a nice dark and like a rich red almost. And that just goes all the way through. Even the browns and the keyholes are darker than they are on a normal. And it does kind of jumble things up too in terms of the alien heads. There's not as many keyholes too. I don't know if that's necessarily a blackhead thing or if that's just this animal. This is one of the genes that you can breed to itself and get a super form. So I am going to show you this, which is a super blackhead. Very, very beautiful animal. So you can see it just makes the head even darker, first off, but then it just expands that dorsal and makes it super thick and just dark. The alien heads almost don't even go down to the belly anymore. They break off, and the black from the spine, or the dorsal, go down underneath even. Very beautiful animal. Pretty sure I have a brother to this snake too, that's beautiful, but he's not a super blackhead. So this was from City Balls again. They have some of the nicest lines of blackheads, so if you're ever in the market for it, hit them up because they won't disappoint. I have quite a few blackheads from them and love them. So, alright, next up. I just thought this girl looked cool. She's a blackhead Enchi clown. So we haven't talked about clown yet. That is next, actually. But I just liked her because you can see the dorsal here is mainly from the clown. But then you have the Enchi from part 1 that almost erases all of the alien heads, and it kind of works in combination with the clown in doing that, but it really just reduces that pattern on the side. And then the blackhead just makes the dorsal so dark, and then the head, it just stinking beautiful. And this animal, oh, there's no picture, from SOS Amador. And then the last one we have, just an eye catcher. One that I kind of was thinking about getting into trying to produce, but my goals kind of took a turn. So this is just a super blackhead, red gene, lavender, albino pied. So talk about jam-packed with some amazing, amazing genes. So lavender albino is one of those branches of albino. Probably my favorite of the albinos, truthfully. But just getting that super blackhead, you can see super blackhead with the albino just inverts it all. I mean, what would be a super black head stamp is just white. I've been drooling over this animal for a while now. But alright, next up on the docket is the Mojave. Now I'm probably, now that I'm thinking about it and not explaining these nearly as in-depth as I did in part 1, I realized how much I talked in part 1, so I'm trying to make it a little bit quicker so it's not a 20-minute video every time. So here we have a Mojave. This is just a normal Mojave. You can see that we still have the alien head similar to a normal, but instead of looking like molar teeth. They're just kind of little blobs of one for the most part, and then you get kind of, this one has letters on it. Look at that, R-I-M, sorry, squirrel. Mojave usually shows more shades of browns and intense yellows or kind of gold over a gray looking body, especially as they age. The black scales on Mojaves are usually very, very deep blacks most of the way through. The head is usually mainly just a dark brown or black with slight fading towards the top. So yeah, this is a normal Mojave. Mojave is part of the blue-eyed leucistic complex. So when you breed a Mojave to a Mojave, you get a white snake with blue eyes. So the super Mojave, otherwise known as a blue-eyed leucistic, you can breed them to lessers. There's a whole another probably video we probably could do to talk about those, but we've just got, for this video, super Mojave, blue-eyed leucistic. So usually the Mojave, the super Mojaves will have kind of a purple head, which I think is a neat look personally. And you see here, this is from Forbidden Balls, a good friend of mine, so I highly recommend, if you have a chance to get something from him, I highly suggest him. And then another very popular one that we see, especially out at the expos, is the Mystic Potion, which is the Mojave and the Mystic. I just think it's a very beautiful, it almost looks hypo to a point. But very popular, very affordable, and just pretty. I mean, even just for as a pet, that's a beautiful animal. So then, just to change things up a little bit, we'll throw a few more genes in there. So this is a high-intensity Orange Dream Mojave Blackhead. And I just couldn't stop looking at this. I mean, the black head really brings out what already is a dark head of a Mojave, makes it super dark, but then having that Orange Dream in there, really bringing out the yellows and that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And this animal comes out of Chris Hernan. He's another local to me. Wonderful guy to work with, makes beautiful animals, especially if you're looking for something that's the high intensity Orange Dream. He's your guy. Alright, so the last one we have is Clown, which is probably one of the more popular amongst the pet trade and in breeding morphs that you're going to find. It's also, it is similar to Pied, where it's recessive, so both parents have to at least carry the gene, if not be visual, in order to get it. If one parent doesn't carry the gene for Clown, none of your babies are going to have Clown, or well, they'll carry it if the other parent has them. But Clown, it causes the pattern to be reduced, kind of like I said on the last gene. It darkens up and widens the dorsal stripe in a very busy way sometimes. The head stamp is usually very busy as well, and I know when they first found one of the wild-caught clowns, it had a small dark marking beneath its eye that almost looked tear-shaped, and it made them as in VPI, it reminded them of a clown tear, and that's how the clown got its name. So in general, as you can see on this normal clown, the colors tend to be kind of crisp tans with some kind of having a copper-like tone and just basic browns and blacks. They will mellow out kind of and brown out as they age, but this is a very nice example of just a normal clown. And it is from these guys. So then these next two, I think they're clutch mates, but I thought that it was a good example of how Clown can look different, even if it's very similar. So this is one of the versions of Clown, I guess you can say, where you don't really get that thick dorsal, but to me it almost kind of has like a zebra stripy look, but it's not zebra, so don't get it confused for that. But it messes it all up. But it's such a beautiful combination, and this animal in particular being a Cypress Orange Dream Banana Clown, you know how I feel about banana by now. So just overall a very beautiful animal. And then I think, so just because, so more pythons LLC. So this is this one, and then very, very similar is this one. So you see the reduced pattern, which comes from it being a leopard, as well as clown. But then it has mostly a solid dorsal. It does break up a little bit right behind the head, but it's just got the nice dorsal, and then it's got the yellows and oranges, lavenders from the banana. Fire really lightens it up, especially down here by the belly. Also a very beautiful animal. And then the last one I wanted to show, just because I think they're pretty cool, but I don't have one yet, is this. So this is a confusion keyhole clown, and it's just another one. It's very busy, but you can still see, especially on the head, it almost kind of looks like a lion's head. You got the little cat mouth and the nose and the eyes, the big nose bridge, squirrel moment. But yeah, just another beautiful animal. I love the eyes on this one too. Clown eyes, I think, are my favorite eyes. They vary so much, and they can be so pretty. But this animal was from our good friend Baker over at Blue Line Morphs. Lots of beautiful examples of clowns out there. I mean, it's another one of those that looks good with almost anything. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, I don't think I was nearly as in-depth on this one as I was last night. But hopefully I was able to give some good pointers in what to look for, and I hope that you enjoyed some of the animals that I showed off. I think probably by now you can figure out what it is I lean towards, or you might not be able to, because half the time I can't even figure it out. Morph Market's a dangerous place, but I don't know what we'd do without it. So I am going to go eat dinner, and I think I already know what the next video is going to be, but if you have suggestions, like I've said before, put it down in the comments, shoot me a message, and we can probably work it out to get it in the lineup. We're now within, hopefully, 7 days of Verbosa giving us that first clutch, and then Naboris will be 10 days-ish after her, so things are going to start kicking off here pretty quick. So, yeah, I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the week and weekend if I don't post anything over the weekend. And if you don't mind, like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And I will see you guys next time.